We'd like to talk today a little bit about something real basic, real simple, and yet fundamental to all of collecting, books not excluded at all, and that is condition. I have an open store here, and almost every day I get a call from somebody who says, I have an old book and I know it must have value because the pages are so yellow. Almost immediately I know at that point that whatever they have was put together by a manufacturer or a producer that really didn't care very much about his product. In fact, they used the cheapest paper available, something that over time would turn yellow. Good old paper was made from rags, and that good old paper just doesn't turn yellow. So one of the first things I do when people bring in books from outside is take a look at the paper and see whether or not it's yellow. If it's yellow, I know that we're in trouble. Here's a book. This is a book that's obviously had seen better days. It's a novel. It was a real popular novel in its day. It's 120 years old or thereabouts. Jane Porter's Scottish Chiefs. But you can see the title page is loose, the spine is missing, that sort of thing. But what we look at here is we say, well, this is sort of like an old hand-painted beautiful plate that's got big chips. And all of the value is completely gone at this point. Similarly, here's a book that was published back in the 1840s. It does have good paper. You can see that the paper has remained nice and white. It's a good rag content paper. It was published by a good printer. It has nicely designed pages. At one time, it had a wonderful binding on it as well. Even so, at this point, with the covers detached, again, it's sort of like having an old plate or a nice teacup that has big chips out of it. And we know from that there just isn't any value there anymore. In contrast, you can see here's a book that was published back in the 1600s. This is a German book about surgery, actually. But you can see that the paper hasn't turned yellow. It has, and always sort of feel the paper too. This has sort of a clothy feel to it, and it lets us know that it was done to hold up, and indeed it has. Here we are 300 years later or thereabouts, and it's still together and doing its job.